So starting January 1st, the Workers' Comp Board is implementing increased rates for chiropractors, massage therapists, and they actually created an acupuncture fee schedule, which the fee schedule never had. Under the old way of doing things, there was a case Great Wall that said acupuncturists take the conversion rates for chiropractors. So essentially for the past, as long as I've been practicing, acupuncturists have been billing at chiropractic rates, but all three of those, massage therapists, acupuncturists, and chiropractors, are all going to see increases in their reimbursement rates under workers' comp and no fault. So workers' comp will be effective immediately as of January 1st, but for no fault, it's not going to be implemented until October of 2020. Department of Financial Services released an emergency adoption statement saying that they needed time to roll out these changes. Everything no fault related is not going to go into effect until October of 2020, except for ground rules. Anything that's in the ground rules is already effective as of April 1st, 2019. So such as chiropractic ground rule 10, which says they can't bill outside of their section, it's a big one. That DFS actually came back and said in that emergency adoption, they said, we're pushing off everything as far as increases in billing until October 2020. But any of the ground rules, they're effective immediately for no fault. So if you've got someone billing a code outside of, or a chiropractor billing a code outside of a section, let's take a manipulation under anesthesia. After April 1st, the carrier could deny that, saying, you're billing outside your section, you can't do that.
And they will deny it.
Right.
They mean that they're, like I've been explaining to many of the practitioners I speak to, anywhere that they could restrict it or it benefited you, you have to wait till October 2020 as far as anything that benefited you. Where they could restrict it or take things down or scale down what you could bill for, that went into effect immediately. And that's just the reality of it, like Mike was saying. The proclamation was very clear. Anything that had to do with new billing, you don't get paid for till October 2020. And anything that was restrictive, eliminating services, anything like the chiropractic, going outside of the chiropractic fee schedule, was immediate. So it resulted in a pretty nice financial windfall for the carriers, and there's not much that can be done about it. It was legislative. It's just the way it goes.
Right, and the way that they justified that is that increase in RVUs, saying now you get 12 units, and also by increasing the actual conversion factors themselves, about 20%, you'll see an increase. So where right now, if you were treating a patient for chiropractic treatment, the max you could get is 4624 a day. That's 8 units. The 5.78 conversion factor. Everything's going up, so you should see a 20% increase in the maximum reimbursable amount per day. There was an increase in the original April 1st amendment to the workers' compensation fee schedule, but through the work of the chiropractors with New York State.
NYCC and NISCA. NYCC and NISCA got together, even though they're two separate entities, and they've been lobbying for modifications, changes for a long time. So they unified for these purposes, and there was a good outcome in terms of the increase that they're receiving in October 2020.
Right, because under the old fee schedule, the conversion rate for a chiropractor was actually less than a physical therapist. So the chiropractor's argument was, we go to school for a lot longer than them, how are we getting reimbursed at a lower rate? So what this does is essentially increases those chiropractic rates and brings it into conformity with the level of skill and schooling and knowledge that each of these practitioners has. Those practitioners have been fighting for a long time to be recognized and be able to bill independently. These new workers' comp board rules give them some more leeway to actually practice independent from the doctor with a collaborative agreement, where it used to be they had to bill underneath that doctor. These new regs should allow them to be able to treat no-fault patients and bill for them under themselves.
they were saying any of the cuts we're making, like from the chiropractic fee schedule, they eliminated a lot of services chiropractors are being reimbursed for, basically narrowing it down to adjusting, right? Those cuts went into effect immediately. Carrier gets benefit from it. Where the carriers had to pay, they said, hey, we need a year to be able to bill higher premiums because we're paying out more money on these claims. I don't know that anybody's ever going to feel like the poor carriers don't have enough money, but that's the way they passed this emergency proclamation, and basically they put a stay on any of the increases for any of the providers till October 2020 for that reason.
One of the new rules is the 12-unit rule. It used to be 8 units, and there was a lot of dispute over whether it was 8 units per provider for a physical therapist or a chiropractor. Now, starting October 2020 for no fault, it's going to be a straight 12 units. So whoever bills those units first is who's going to get reimbursed. And now, since acupuncturists have their own fee schedule, if they bill those, now they're in the mix too. They used to be outside of it. So under the current system, you could have a chiropractor billing chiro manipulation codes, and Acu doing Acu, and both of them getting reimbursed. Now they're going to be competing for that same piece of the pie, those 12 units, starting October.
In addition to physical therapists.
Right.
It used to be really the conflict was always just chiropractic and physical therapy. Right. Now they've thrown another practice modality into it, which is acupuncture. So you're going to have 3 competing interests based upon who bills it first when the treatments are rendered. So it does complicate it a little bit. There are ways to deal with that. It really comes down to proper scheduling of the services, making sure that it's not on the same day, that type of stuff.
Right, but it could pose a real issue for chiropractors who have an acupuncturist in their office, and if they're currently treating all 3 modalities in the same day, acupuncture, physical therapy, and chiropractic, they have to take a look at that and see how that's going to affect each one of those providers. If the patient, it's going to be difficult for all of them to get reimbursed if the patient's coming in and getting all of that in one day.
Right.
There's just simply not enough units to compensate.
And a lot of times they all work in the same building, so someone might get treated by all 3.
Right.
Not anymore.
At the same office.
The practicality of it is they're doing this to eliminate that.
Right.
Like, hey, we're treating you for chiropractic at 11, go see the acupuncturist at 11:30, and then the PT at 12. There's no way you're going to be able to have 12 units apportioned out appropriately with the right amount of treatment for a specific provider. So again, they're going to have to figure out what works best for their practice, and also the patients are just going to have to figure out what do they feel the most relief from. Right? These are all physical modalities. What are they getting the most benefit from, the most relief, if they have to pick and choose on that given day?
If it's anything that you're going to see an increase in billing or reimbursement rates, that's going to be October 2020. Anything in regard to ground rules, as soon as that goes in, that'll be effective for no fault. But there's always a chance that in the next couple of weeks we get another emergency adoption by DFS saying maybe they want to do something different. Until they come out with something, we have to take what they've said previously, which is October 2020. Maybe they say this is effective immediately, but from everything that they've said, it looks like it's going to be October 2020.
I urge everybody, if you're in practice as a healthcare provider, you got to go on the Optum website and actually buy a workers' compensation fee schedule from Optum. It's a couple $100. I don't know how anybody's practicing and doesn't have access to the coding or the language. And it may seem daunting at first, but it's actually pretty clear. They show you how to calculate the bills. They show you exactly what's covered, what's not covered. And it's all in plain English language. It's not necessarily legalese if you actually just take the time to read it. Like the chiropractic fee schedule, you can buy just that, or you can buy the entire fee schedule for every healthcare practice, like we have several copies here in the office.
Right, and that's important because if you set up your billing correctly, you can bill whatever amount you want to no fault or workers' comp, but that doesn't mean that they're going to pay you that amount. They're going to pay you what the actual book says. It's every conversion and every code that you bill is reimbursable at a certain rate. So if you calculate those correctly when you initially bill, you're going to know how much you have outstanding and what's reimbursable. Instead of billing a straight, $100 a visit, you think you have maybe $3,000 or $4,000 worth of bills outstanding, when in reality it's a lot less than that.
Yeah, so that's it.